All right.
Yes.
We're live. Monday Night Live.
What you guys don't know is we have 4 devices.
4.
Oh, yes.
They can see there's 3 of us.
There's 3 of us. Dean Nixon, TurningLeaf Wellness Center, Kate Semmens, Jamie Lightner, who normally is live from Michigan, who is joining us in sunny St. George. So I'm hoping that on Jamie's we're not sideways. We may be sideways. We apologize if we are. However, we're excited to see you all and be on Monday Night Live. Jamie Lightner is joining us. Super cool. You're a super cool girl.
I am.
Yeah. One of TurningLeaf Wellness Center's life coaches here in town, here in St. George for the weekend, coming to support the Level 1 seminar. So thank you for coming out, and thanks for being on the live.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. I loved it.
And we're live on yours. However, I am convinced we're sideways.
Really?
I think they're coming in. They're just like doing thumbs up, so I think we're good.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you guys,
people.
we just got through another beautifully amazing Level 1 seminar. Our Awakening seminar. We had 19 different participants that came through, and check out their stuff that they're posting because they are just kind of crushing it as far as like letting you guys know how their experience was. So I'm going to decline that. Is that all right? No, you did already.
It did.
Done. So then we got the beautiful, amazing, talented Jamie Lightner to come out all the way from Michigan and do the seminar with us.
Yes.
Which has been so fun for me because on this side of the camera, Jamie's always really interactive in our lives when we get on Monday, and I'm always like, Dean, I gotta meet this Jamie. Like we'd even like kind of had some phone conversations, and so it's like meeting my soul sister from the other side of the country. So that's been a really fun thing for me this weekend.
Absolutely. Sisters in 3 days.
That's right.
Well, tonight we figured the ideal topic for us to be talking about is life coaching. We thought how cool it would be to have 3 different life coaches that use the same content, material, philosophies to really help our clients move forward. But we all have 3 different emphases and 3 different skill sets. And so we thought it would be really cool to open up a discussion about that. And so one of the things I wanted to jump out there with for us to talk about is some of the things that we're really seeing out there with the challenges in our world today, and the importance and the value of why it is important to engage with life coaches in our world.
Yeah, and like Dean kind of has already said, it's really been fun having the 3 of us to be able to kind of bounce some stuff off the last little while because we all have different perspectives on reality, right? We're all 3 very different individuals who do the same thing and just a little bit differently. I think that's amazing. So I'll jump in real quick.
Jump in, Kate, jump in.
Because I'm the youngest member of the crew, and not by age, but by length of being a life coach.
Yeah, Jamie was like pondering that.
Actually, it is by age.
Start doing the math. I don't know.
Not much by age.
I didn't throw that out there. P.S. Just so you know, Jamie, occasionally Kate will throw you under the bus. I know that from
unintentionally. I know that from
Just so you're aware. Welcome to our lives.
Oh. But it's been, you guys have been on this journey with me as long as I've been on this journey, as far as like diving in and saying, yes, this is where I feel like my life path is. This is my contribution to society. Is on this life coach path. So I'm quite new to it, and still I'm not going to speak for these guys because I know that it still lights you guys up. Like it still excites you. It still is super passionate. It's very fulfilling work to be able to work with you guys and the people that we work with to be able to help them move forward in their life. Like we get so stuck, and if we just stay stuck in our stuckness without getting some help, then we don't move forward. So that to me has been something that's been so just beautiful in this whole process of becoming a coach and helping people work through the 4 steps to confidence and gaining their coping skills. And it's also really fun and interesting to be able to kind of find your groove, right? Like what kind of population is attracted to you. So that's another thing I think that the 3 of us have something different that we can be able to share with you tonight.
So one of the things I wanted to start talking about, and jumping out there in, and we get a lot of love coming across.
Yeah,
by
you
the
guys
way.
are
We got some
amazing.
wonderful people saying hello to everybody, so thank you. And please keep in mind, we literally have 4 feeds going, so if we don't comment, it's not because
Yeah, we still love you.
if I try to read them all, I'll go cross-eyed. But the point being, so Jamie's specialty really is in working with families, especially with mothers, younger children in their teens. She's also had the ability to work with elite athletes, which has been really cool that are really successful at. Kate's specialty is really in crisis intervention and working. That's where she has cut her teeth through the years, is in crisis intervention, especially in the teen industry and working with teens. So her specialty really is working with teens, but also with adults and in the addiction world. So one of the questions I would ask the two of you is, what do you feel like is one of the most powerful tools that you use? So when you're helping guide, because that's our goal and our role as life coaches, is to take a system of tools like the 4 steps to confidence or the key, the 8 coping skills, and we help parents, we help teens, we help athletes, we help adults really implement these. So what do you feel, each of you, which do you feel is like your go-to? Like what, we all as life coaches kind of have our go-to, but again, I know we tailor it to whoever's in front of us. But what would you say tends to be your most common go-to? Start us out, Jamie.
Most common go-to principle?
Yep.
For me, with moms, I would say the greatest human need is to feel valued. A lot of times moms get their value from how they're raising their kids, what their kids are doing, or how they're doing in school, whether they're having a meltdown at Myers, whether they're potty trained at 2. So I work a lot with, helping them to focus on who they are as an individual and not use their kids as a measuring stick to what kind of mother they are.
And that's such a huge thing. A lot of times, moms especially, dads, we get caught up in it too. I mean, we need the sticker on the back of our car that says my kid's on honor roll, right? Or my kid's an Eagle Scout or whatever, yeah.
Do they make them that say my cat is a straight A student? That's what I need.
We'll work on that. But yes, that tends to be a typical thing where we really lose our identity in the human doing piece. So how do you help them? What is your feelings on that?
My feelings are, I spend a lot of time working on their personal self-concept first, separating their identity from I am who I am because my kid is good on, at school, or because my kid is on the sports team, but helping them to go internal and create value within themselves. And just to, I always say that I believe, a personal belief of mine is that the kid that you got was the kid, you are the mom that they need. Like if you had that child needs your flavor. That child needs your personality, it needs your weaknesses and your strengths, because we learn from both. And it's just really banking on who you are as an individual first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
great insight.
So amazing, because that equals the fact that even if nothing changes about you, but we're dynamic, right? We're like constantly changing. But even if you just wake up and be you all day, that's all that they need. You don't have to turn into this Mary Poppins individual that has a bag that has everything that is potentially possible.
Well, and I found something kind of interesting is like, through even raising my own kids, is the more perfect I try to be, it's harder on them. It's harder on them. I've noticed over the years of showing my kids some of my human pieces that's appropriate for their age has actually helped them, be able to relate to me and actually take my counsel, even because now they're looking at me and I'm not Mary Poppins. I don't have a bag of magic, and then they will, respect more what I have to say.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool insight.
So what's your go-to, Kate?
I don't know if it's any one particular principle, because I think that like the teens and the millennials that I work with, they all come from, I think, once again, that greatest human need, right? But what I find is just repetitively on the couch across from me is just that paralyzation that comes from fear. Right? Like it's that launching principle that we've talked about in a lot of different lives, and so I guess if there was maybe one principle, it would come from the 4 steps in confidence, which is to learn how to take little healthy risks, and then also collect all that evidence coming from the key, you know, like I did this, and A, I didn't die, and B, everyone didn't laugh at me. Yeah. No one even really noticed, you know what I mean, except for me, and look at how much stronger I've gotten, and just those baby steps, and then recognizing, not discrediting that. Like, we're so good at just being like, oh yeah, cool. Well, I'm not a YouTube sensation today, so clearly that didn't matter, right? Like, which is not the case. Like, right. Or I'm not an influencer today, or I didn't make $1 million on League of Legends today, so I'm worthless, right? Because that's their world. But no, I did this awesome thing that got me a little bit closer. Like, I went out and I applied for a job, right? Like, sometimes that's just a huge thing, and for some of us, it's like, what? But when you have a hard time just doing those little launching things, it's a really big deal. And so to be able to pat yourself on the back for that and hang on to that the next time something scary comes up.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Excellent. So that's.
What about you, Dean?
Oh, I was going to skip it. Well, I think one of the most important go-tos is really the self-talk. The relationship with self.
Yes.
And it's, you're touching on it, both of you are really touching on it, but to me it really has a lot to do with the inability that we have to set boundaries with our own thinking, with our own fears, with our own awfulizing, and how we feed it. Like, we feed that demon so easily. We get on social media and we feed it. We turn on the news and we feed it. We listen to our friends and we think how much better their lives are than ours is, and we feed it. Yep. We spend so much time feeding that beast, so to speak, inside of us, that it gets to the point where I don't even like the relationship with myself, so I have to find something outside of me. I've got to find a way to numb it, a way to disconnect from it. And I think about that's one of the biggest things that crosses all the venues for me, from the young, 12-year-old that I'm working with to the 62-year-old I'm working with. It's really that ability to understand how you think, why you think the way you do, and learning to put boundaries around that and giving it some guidelines, but not only giving it boundaries and guidelines, but feeding it something healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I see that so many times in people's eyes. I can see it in their face, where they're stepping into a room full of people and they're immediately comparing themselves. They're immediately, where do I fit in? Where do I fit in? Where do I fit in? Instead of stepping into a room as themselves, stepping into a room within themselves in that room. And that's probably one of the most powerful pieces that we can work on in my work with them.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. That's super awesome insight.
So here's my next question to you is, what do you feel like is the most important or most needed coping skill you teach within your within your go-to bag? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, for me, there's a go-to for me coping skill, and the one that I use a lot is focus. It's that, like I was just talking about, is we tend to focus so much on the things that make us uncomfortable, or the things that we don't want to have in our lives, or the lives that we have. We spend so much time focusing on that we don't shift our focus into being a creator. And so I know for me, that seems to be my biggest go-to coping mechanism or coping tool that I like to teach, is focus. Do you guys feel the same? Do you feel different? What would you say is your go-to?
Well, I think that was the first one that came to my mind, right, is focus, because it's so, it's just so powerful. That one is, I think. They're all super powerful, but like, when you really like catch on to that idea of, like you were just saying, that we are all creators, and that you can create whatever it is that you want as long as you're focused on that, super powerful. But the next one that came to my mind was the one I've already kind of said, and that's evidence, right? That collection of evidence. I love to challenge people that are in my office to just start getting curious, like just kind of like when something happens, instead of like start demonizing yourself with that thought process that you were just
Feeding
talking
that
about,
beast,
like get curious, like, there needed to have been a stimulation, a trigger, right? Like we've talked about it before. I love it. I love that that's like the teens thing now. Like, I'm so triggered. You triggered me. You told me to do my homework. I'm triggered. I can't.
It's the buzzword.
It's fun right now, right?
Yeah.
But that is what happens to us because of past events, and we just like boom, 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 and all of a sudden we're triggered, right? And so instead of like wallowing in the depression or spinning in the anxiety, get curious and then look for the evidence about how you can manage that, right?
Yeah.
Like straight up, I keep a little book, and I encourage my clients to do that, to like just get a little notebook or make a note on your phone, like on your cell phone, right?
Yeah.
And just when those things happen and you can come to your own conclusion, right? Like it's so powerful to be able to like figure that out for yourself and then add that to your evidence sheet.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think?
Gosh, those were the two that came to my mind too.
Yeah.
Mostly because the negative self-talk that you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
I find that that's like an epidemic. Most, like, you start with the greatest human need, you get your value externally, and then the imagination starts to run. So anything that can curb that imagination and the negative self-talk and the focus, I think we've coupled with gratitude before too.
Yeah.
So I love how you said you can't just stop the negative self-talk. You want to feed your mind something healthy. And that's what I found working with clients is, once you eliminate something, if you say don't think about pink elephants, right? Don't talk negatively about yourself. Now you got a whole list of negative things that you're like, well, I just, and so I'm always working that tool of, okay, so let's get some positive things you're grateful for will always shift your energy really quick to, and sometimes even just being grateful for the mistakes you made. Like sometimes when I have clients come in, I'm like, what did that teach you? We look at the mistake and we gather the evidence that says I suck.
Right.
How about we look at the evidence of, okay, so yep, that was a learning experience. What were the results of that?
Right.
Yes.
And I love that you bring that out because we're so critical of any human mistake we make.
Yes.
And even there are human mistakes that we're going to make because we need to. And I know as a father, it's hard. I'm sure you can relate. As a mother, it's hard to not. I'm a father, but I'm a human being first. I'm a father, but I'm a human being with my own prejudices and preferences and struggles and hurts and pains. And then I have to go in and try and help raise another human. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
So I'm going to make mistakes, but we really tend to really focus on that stuff and really hang on to that so tight that is the evidence we wind up gathering, as you called it. And I know with the moms you work with, a lot of mothers in that venue, moms are really, really susceptible to that negative, oh, I should have loved them more. I should have told them I love you before they went to sleep. And, they probably, and all of that. So I know that's a great one. Yeah. That's a great one. I know we're getting close on time. I don't want to jump too tight or get too tight on time. But Jamie, what's the one coping skill that you have to use to deal with the weather in Michigan?
I'm still trying.
But it's been funny all weekend.
look at all the thumbs up.
Everybody's
for
like,
me. Everybody's yeah. Oh my gosh.
I have no answer for that.
Oh,
I still struggle.
I love going out to Michigan. I love all my Michigan people. All of you out there, you know how much I love you. I love coming out, but dang, can you not we can move. Right? We can move. And
I loved her answer yesterday because, like I said, this has been the running joke all weekend. And Jamie said, well, it's the magic of the summer. It's the lightning bugs, right? Like there's that magic that happens in that part of the country.
3 months.
Yep.
3 months of magic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you just focus on that.
That's my focus.
That's your focus and the
my
evidence.
focus.
Our focus out here is 3 months of heat.
Yeah.
And so if we can just get through the 3 months of heat, so we get you know. Okay, it doesn't relate at all, but I tried. I really did. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
Such a treat to have Jamie.
We want to encourage all of you on all of our feeds to find Jamie Lightner, life coach. You can find her on Instagram under Jamie Lightner LC. You can find her on Facebook under Jamie
Lightner, life coach.
Life coach. And follow her. She does amazing lives out there. She's such an influencer in the Michigan area, especially in the East Lansing, Springport, you know, Eaton Rapids, all that wonderful area, all those wonderful people. You know how much I love you all out there. Make sure you really follow this girl. She's wonderful. She's an author. She's written a wonderful book with her sister, Misguided Sisters.
Two Sisters, Misguided Manual to Motherhood.
To Motherhood. And I wish I had the copy here. It is hilarious. If you want to read something funny about raising children and being a mom and humanness, look up that book. Humanness. and we'll try to put a link in all of these feeds so you can follow the link. Just an amazing woman. She's also been such an influential help in writing the 4 steps, the key, and the value-based parenting. She's been a lot of my ghostwriter, editor, and you've been amazing. So super grateful. Thank you, Kate, as always. The Kate Great, I think I saw up on one of our feeds. Greatness Kate or something like that. So
you guys know I love you.
These guys have a huge fan base. I'm just tagging along. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Like and share our videos. Make sure that we get the love out there to the world. Thank you all. Oh, and remember, here's my challenge. Take this information and make it a subject of topic in your world. Thank you all for tuning in. We're all going to grab a feed and try and shut these things down. If you see our noses and our nostrils, forgive us. So thank you.
Have a wonderful week. I'll go high.
I'll go low.
Bye.
Here's Kate.